Yeah, it's the comeback king. Orange wave crash, hear the people sing. Trump's back in action, making them sweat. The polls ain't live, Paul Brennan's a wreck. Talking TDS, they got Trump clarity. Now they're all wishing for 16 prosperity. He's the real deal from New York Steel. Got the polls on fire, Brennan's at his heel. In the town of New York Steel. Got the polls on fire, Brennan's at his heel. Imitate a businessman, politician supreme. Even the Simpsons saw him living the dream. The boardroom boss with his empire wide. From your fire to Washington pride. He built towers, casinos, and global hotels. While Brandon trips and stumbles like he forgot the bells. He's the real deal. From New York Steel, got the polls on fire. Brandon's at his heels, serving every wrong lane. Gonna need a new hobby after Trump's campaign. He's the real deal from New York Steel. Got the polls on fire, Brandon's at his heel. In the town of New York Steel. Got the polls on fire, Brandon's at his heel. Entertainer, businessman, politician supreme. Even the Simpsons saw him living the dream. Come on,
All right, guys. Decided we need to start with a little bit of music each time now. Now that we've got all these songs, we're going to have to make even more. And we'll make those 30-second countdowns at the beginning of all the streams far more exciting. So that is on the list of things that need to be done. I need to get more of those music videos put together. And what is up, everyone? And actually, Christine, hi there. It was awesome getting to hang out with you last Friday. And I actually need to get with Trina because I think I will be hanging out again tomorrow for your Thirsty Thursday. But you can also tell Trina, Christine, that actually she sent me an article over the weekend that I finally got to look at. And I'm going to be going through that during the stream today, talking about XRP and tokenized assets. So thank you for joining us. And what's up, Kukla and Crazy Chester, Captain Spiffy? Thank you guys so much. Edward, oh, it is good to see you. Mile, hi, Trish and Karen, thank you. And Mile, I am extremely happy to be back. Holy cow, though, did I absolutely die once I got into the house last night. Being in my own bed, being back with my Valentino, I thought I wasn't that tired. And then I managed to pass out, literally just sitting there, woke up, laid down in bed, and I was asleep for 12 hours, woke back up extremely confused, but much better rested. Traveling always takes it out of me. I cannot manage to make a trip without having to deal with a few days of recovery on account of it. Oh, what is up, Bridget? Thank you guys so much for joining Overcoming Victory. And of course, the ever important statement that nothing inside of the podcast or on the Crazy Kryptonaut channel should ever be viewed as financial advice. I am a guy on the internet whose name is Crazy Kryptonaut. Please seek out a professional financial advisor before making any major decisions with your financial future. Got to cover that one. Too pretty for prison. I'm far too pretty for prison. I got to make certain that I don't go giving any excuses out there. Hey there, Colleen. Oh, good evening, Donna and David. Thank you so much for my apple. I wouldn't be able to make it through without it. I appreciate it every single time. Every single time. It's kept the doctor away so far. They did say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. They didn't tell you had to eat the apple, so I'm not certain how that works. Let's go through, though, and do the most important part here, because I know this is probably who everybody is actually here to hang out with. Yes. Mr. Tino is doing quite well. He's a very, very happy boy to have everything back to normal. A very, very happy boy to have everything back to normal. He even let me sleep. That, or maybe I slept so deeply that he couldn't have woken me up no matter what he did. That could be the actual reasoning. But no, Mr. Tino is doing very, very well. And he's not that mad at me. It probably took 30 seconds. I walked in the door, he hissed at me, and then he ran up and started jumping on my leg. Kukla, was he a good boy? So far, I've yet to find anything that he has done. So I am cautiously optimistic when I say that he was a good boy. Cautiously. Yes. All right. You enjoy your nap again. Sorry to wake you up, buddy. Oh, no, Christine, thank you. No, definitely appreciate the thumbs up. And hope everyone is also appreciating the crypto market today. I have to imagine that everyone's portfolios are looking a lot greener on account of the massive rise today. A lot of that has been associated with the soft inflation data from the CPI. I love how they use terms like that. It's soft inflation data. Very ambiguous term because it's not good news, but the expectations from the market are so negative nowadays that whenever things aren't horrible news, they're good news. And so we'll take what we can get. I appreciate the green portfolio. Not going to complain. But the data was not exactly good enough to warrant it. But all right, it is what it is. We'll take it. Kukla, I am wearing it. Actually, I'm still very upset. One of my other bracelets along the trip somehow to Brazil, it has disappeared, and so my other hemp bracelet is gone. I question whether it actually didn't get taken because hemp was illegal in some of those countries, and I didn't even think about having a hemp bracelet on my wrist, and I had placed it inside of my my check baggage, and it disappeared. But they did not take the one that you sent, Kukla. I wear it every day. No, I wear it every day. This is it. They did not take the one that you sent, Kukla. All right. All right. Let's look at those green charts though real quick and see some good news. Let's go right for that. Now that's the one from Trina actually that she had posted into in a quantum talk that we are going to talk about because there's actually a few really important things in here to focus on. There's some very important terms that you're going to be hearing a lot in the coming months. And there's also a lot to be said about this election has just gotten an entirely new talking point. Through Trump coming out and endorsing cryptocurrency, we're going to be hearing about crypto a lot. I imagine that crypto and artificial intelligence is going to end up being a major sticking point in terms of the debates that go on in regards to policy. Now, these are probably going to be, they're not going to be the ones that change the election in terms of what the public cares about. You know, right now, what we see with the public is they care about immigration and they care about housing prices. They care about cost of living. That is what the average everyday American is probably planning on going to the voting booth and voting on. But the people with a lot of money that are going to be providing the money to these campaigns to provide the advertising, the ones that control the candidates, they are going to be putting their money out there because of artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and far more higher level and more macro level societal issues that they would benefit from going in a certain direction. And so we're going to be keeping up on that one. We're going to talk about that today. But yes, we're looking happy all along the board. Bitcoin 7% on the day, compliments of the data. Ethereum trailing at 4.4. Now, this, as always, you know, we've talked about this one. Typically, when we see a price increase on Bitcoin, we see a slight delay. So I would expect to see XRP, Ethereum, and probably Cardano and some of the other blue chip style cryptocurrencies see even more gains if Bitcoin's price manages to hold here. Bitcoin is, of course, testing again against that 66, 67 resistance. And we've already been here. We've looked at this one a couple of different days where the charts, the market was at the same place. And we've gotten turned back around every time we've tried to push above 67. And so I am cautiously optimistic that we may end up having enough buying power to get over it and actually break that resistance at this point. But I wouldn't gamble on it. I'm guessing we're going to continue trading inside of this same little area. And the one, though, that I am looking forward to a general price increase is XRP. XRP has been trailing hard. And I was unable to find any data of any kind to really warrant it. When it comes down to it, trading volume is just fine. $882 million worth of XRP were traded in the past 24 hours. There is no liquidity issue. But we seem to be having an issue when it comes to actually breaking out of the 50s. XRP should easily be 70 cents right now. Easily. Just on account of where the rest of the market is at in terms of the gains that Solana and Ethereum and XLM and Cardano saw. Ripple is slacking. And now I know that part of that came from April 12th when about $280 to $300 million of XRP were liquidated by an escrow account. That slowed them down during that rush, but it still just hasn't added up to why we aren't seeing XRP keeping more in line with Bitcoin's price increases. So I'm looking for more data on that one. I'm certain we'll end up getting an answer in the long term, but that's usual. Hindsight's always 2020. All right, though, continuing forward, our portfolio and our earn percentages, because our Matic did finally unstake, and so you'll notice our average rate of return has gone up even more. We've made a whopping 58 cents in our month of staking. And so now we no longer have any Matic staked or any Tezos staked. Do not intend to go back into either of them, even if we see a general increase in the interest rate on a yearly basis. Was not happy with how they operated, and we were not getting paid, essentially. Not getting paid near what they were advertising. They were paying us somewhere far below 1%, but advertising a 4% return rate, and that is just not cool. But of course, for those that have had any of their USDC earning, we are seeing those numbers keep up. I actually did the math on this one, and so for our first month, we would be in line with a 4.9% APY on our USDC. So that is essentially, it's close enough to call it a rounding error in my opinion. Something, though, that I wanted to do before we jumped in to the actual next part is I had gotten some emails from people that were having a difficult time with the learning rewards quizzes. And so if you have your Coinbase account, remember, guys, there's free money sitting here. So you come over to the earn section, and then you actually click on learning rewards. You'll get these quizzes. And so I got some emails from people that were having an issue with them. And so I figured we would just run one of them very quickly so that everyone could see one being done in real time. And so real quick, we're going to try to earn $24 of VARA in 7 minutes. And so if we manage to earn $24 in 7 minutes, I'd say that is a pretty decent rate. All right, learn about VARA Network. Seamless integration with Web 2 and Web 3. VARA Network is the bridge that connects the traditional Web 2 world with a futuristic Web 3 landscape. By harnessing Gears protocol, yada, yada, yada. We create complexities of building a custom blockchain. A network of endless possibilities. All right. Empowering global accessibility. That seems like a good thing. And unleashing the player in you. And so, what is the main purpose of the VARA network? Becoming a bridge from developers from Web 2 to Web 3. And that is correct. And we just earned $3. It was that easy. We earned $3. So I would highly suggest that everybody do their check in terms of their learning rewards. It is literally nothing more than that. If you get the answer wrong to the quiz, you just get to take it again. And so I would highly recommend everyone go over there and check on their learning rewards. It's free money. You can use it to buy the cryptos that you want. You could just cash it out and send it to your bank account if you could use an extra $20. So absolutely check that one out. And I hope for anyone that was having an issue with understanding what the learning reward system looked like, that makes more sense now where it is. It's just learning rewards. It'll always keep in mind. See, it already knows I've completed this task. And so I can do this next one for $5 more. You can just keep in line with them, go all the way down. Do these when you can, as fast as you can, because sometimes they will leave Coinbase, and then you'll no longer have access to those free dollars. You'll never be able to go back and do these tasks again. So I highly recommend jumping on it and getting them done. It's an impressive 41 more dollars. I had $44 to earn. Heck, nowadays, a whole $40, that might buy me one whole Happy Meal at McDonald's. So it's worth it. All right, coming over to our normal crypto quant. Let's see what the indicators are saying, because we are seeing some general positivity in terms of the exchanges. Coinbase Premium, U.S. investors are buying. Exchange reserve is extremely positive. We're not seeing a lot of Bitcoin being held on exchanges, which means people aren't planning on selling it soon. And we're also not seeing a lot of altcoins being held on exchanges. And so people are feeling bullish at the moment in terms of the exchanges. Now, we're not seeing a bullish pressure from the ETFs at the moment, but that does make sense when you consider the date, the time, and everything else in terms of traditional finance. We're not looking at a time of the year where we usually see a lot of money inflowing from these. The Asian market, this is something that I had forgot to mention before, is that usually when we check the markets and we look at the crypto quant summary, we're looking at a time of the day where it is very, very much a Western part of the world's time of the day to be buying things, to be spending money. And so it is slightly off, maybe off point to really look at the Asian markets during the times that we are awake, because the times of the day that the Asian markets would be making purchases, would be making moves in the crypto markets are usually when we're asleep. So something that I had meant to add in there. All right, David, can you do my task for me? We'll split it. I'll take 22 of the dollars. I'll do the tasks for you, and I'll do everybody's task because I don't even read them. I just go straight to the end and answer the question. I just go straight to the end. All right, though. Oh, what's up, Weezer? Good to see you, and Rocker Mom, and also Sassy. And yes, absolutely, Weezer. It sounds as if that is zero fun. I will be praying, and hopefully it is feeling better. Definitely a time for some of those CBD Gurus gummies, because I imagine with a knee replacement surgery that gummies are going to be a major part of sleeping at night. All right. So, as we had talked about, Bitcoin hit 66K as soft inflation data sparks a crypto rally. BTC climbed to its highest price since April 24, while Solana sold and near led crypto gains. Bitcoin could target the $84,000 level with altcoins performing well, Swiss Block said. So, just because the U.S. economy or the U.S. Inflation data isn't quite as bad as some of the predictions were, where we're seeing a lot of positivity. Is anything good? I think all of us that go to the store and have to buy groceries can tell that the CPI is not improving, that things are not getting better. But hey, if it makes them happy enough to buy a bunch of crypto, I guess that's fine. Whatever floats their boat. But well, here's a question for the community. And I've got double for this one, because two questions here. First is, do you think that there actually will be a U.S. presidential debate on June 27th? First question. Second question is, if for some miracle reason there is actually a debate and they let Joe Biden on the stage with Trump, Do you think they will discuss crypto? And do you think that Joe Biden will even have a clue where he is at or what is going on? I am curious. I'm pretty certain that I can guess everyone's responses, but you never know. You never know. Yeah, Mile High Trish, that's where I'm at. That is where I'm at. No way there will be a debate. There is just no way. There's no way that the Biden campaign team is dumb enough to put him on stage. They're dumb, but I don't think they're that dumb. Oh, Weezer. I bet they find a reason to not have a debate. I would think so. I imagine it'll be there'll be an outbreak. Maybe there'll be a new COVID strain or what. There's going to be a bird flu or swine flu or who knows? Who knows? Some other type of flu. Something scary, and they'll tell us how terrifying it's going to be. And then they'll say, well, we can't get everybody together. Or I would honestly, and this one might be a little bit of a different one, I would question whether they don't actually try to make an argument that because of Trump's ongoing legal issues that are 99.9% all fabricated junk, but that they might not use those as saying, well, Joe Biden is not going to sit down and discuss with a criminal. Is not going to have a debate with a criminal. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not bold enough to try and do that. I would not be surprised. Maybe Joe will wear a mask. That would actually be hilarious. And Mile High Trish, I think you just had the best idea. And if that happens, you are definitely need to go to the Biden campaign and ask for some compensation, because I think you just gave them the idea that they're going to go with. That would work. It wouldn't work, but it would work. Then all they have to do is just keep him standing in the right position. That wouldn't be easy, but they could try. But yes, will crypto be on the agenda? I don't think there will be a debate in any form or fashion. But what I do believe is that we will be seeing crypto as a major part of the actual election itself. So, crypto industry's influence on U.S. elections is bigger than ever, industry insiders say. Crypto-focused PACs, political action committees, are shaping the outcome of certain key congressional elections. There is more money, there is more interest, and these lobbying groups, this framework and apparatus has had enough time to really start to settle itself in to the framework of Washington politics. And so, for better or worse, we are going to see a lot of money getting thrown all around. Now, this is literally why I had this article up, was this little statement here, this little summary point. Though crypto holding voters tend to prefer Trump for president, industry insiders are split on whether or not a Trump presidency would actually be better for crypto. And in and of itself, that is something that is somewhat interesting. And so crypto-focused PACs like Fair Shake, which has raised $85 million from a collection of crypto companies, executives, retail investors, yada, yada, have successfully shaped the outcome of some relevant races, including spending $10 million helping squash the bid of crypto-critical Congresswoman Katie Porter. And so I know many of you know exactly who Katie Porter is. She's had many a clip online go quite viral. I believe she was a high school teacher that ended up running. She seemed to have the best of intentions, not going to question whether she did or didn't, but she was particularly unknowledgeable about a variety of different topics. And Katie Porter not even getting a chance to run again. And a large part of that is coming from the fact that you mess with crypto, you say anything wrong, crypto PACs, crypto investors are going to throw everything at the competition. They are going to put their money behind their words and behind their beliefs at a far higher rate than other industries. And that is because crypto industry does have a lot of money, and because we are new. We have to fight. If we do not fight for the regulations, then we'll be taken advantage of. And so I I don't foresee crypto not putting money behind Democratic candidates in this election term. They're going to. They're going to support some Democratic candidates, but I do believe compliments of Trump's endorsement of crypto, we are going to see a drastic shift towards the Republican Party. And that was always something that, like they said, crypto holders tend to be Trump supporters. They tend to be conservative. But the people, the tech guys that are often running a lot of the different ones are very Silicon Valley. Very, very Silicon Valley. And so a lot of the average holders of crypto are very conservative. And then a lot of the people that are running some of these different companies are very, very liberal. And that's going to create for an odd dichotomy. And I imagine that in this election, we're going to see actual crypto holders refuse or sell cryptos that they hold when that team, when that company goes out and supports a candidate that they are opposed to. I think this might be the election year where we see people sell their cryptos that they hold because the person came out and said that they endorse Joe Biden. I think we will actually see that in this election cycle. And that in and of itself would be a good thing because everyone knew during FTX with Sam Bankman-Fried, everyone knew that he was a crazy, crazy liberal Democrat, but they were all conservatives and they all used his exchange and they all held his tokens. I don't foresee them being fooled twice. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I could absolutely see a shift here. Now, something else, though, that I do want to start including a little bit more on is artificial intelligence. And the reason being is because between crypto and AI, we have the two greatest technological advancements since easily the internet. And we could probably should go much further back to look for a relevant or applicable comparison. But artificial intelligence is hitting the labor forces like a tsunami, according to the IMF chief. So artificial intelligence is hitting the global labor market like a tsunami. IMF manager Kristalina Georgieva said on Monday, AI is likely to impact 60% of jobs in advanced economies and 40% of jobs in the world in the next 2 years. Now, this 60% of jobs in advanced economies, this is going to come in the form of massive, massive layoffs. This is going to come in the form of massive shifts in terms of operational workflow for the business, how they go about conducting business, having these tools. But the biggest impact is going to be the fact that we do not need people anymore to do the vast majority of these jobs. And it's something where a customer service department of 10 might become a customer service department of 4. An accounting department for a major corporation could easily go from a department of 100 to a department of 10 or less. These are going to cause massive, massive shifts in how our economy works. And so these two things are occurring at the same time. We're seeing a massive change in how money works. And then now we're also seeing a massive, massive change in terms of how money is earned. When we add these two things together, it's going to become infinitely more important for our currency, our money, and our assets to be backed by something more tangible. Because we're looking at a world where what are people going to do for work? What are you going to do to make money? That's the question. And unfortunately, there's no one out there that has an answer yet. And so if I think one up, I'd be happy to share it, guys. But it really is an issue that is far greater than I think any one mind or any average mind. It's how do you give people a purpose and an incentive to work and live when they don't have the same need to work? Or, well, they have the need to work because they need the money, but there is no necessity from the actual workplace to have more laborers. What are we going to do? And if we're looking at this number and we're saying 60% of all jobs in advanced economies in a matter of 2 years, that is extremely fast. And I know that the data stretched out to 2030 is looking at 60% of jobs being gone on account of AI. Now, this is just 60% being affected in the next 2 years. 2030, we're looking at 60% potentially no longer existing. That is a horrifying prospect, and we have to seriously consider what that world is going to look like. How are we going to put bacon on the table? What are we going to do? What service can we as humans provide when we live in a world where AI is going to be taking away a massive amount of jobs? Cryptocurrency is going to be taking away a massive amount of jobs. And when you combine crypto and AI together, we're looking at one absolute crap ton of jobs that are going to be gone, and an entire shift in how we operate. This is going to be something that we all need to be aware of, and we all need to be thinking about, and especially for everyone that has family, friends, and everyone else that is just now entering into the workforce, or at those critical time periods in their life in the workforce. I know for me, with my generation, I'm 31. Everybody at my age has already put off having, in many cases, they put off what would have been very normal for past generations to do. Very few own a house, very few have a family, very few are settling down. They're planning on doing that now. They're planning on it. They finally worked long enough. They finally have enough money. They're starting to get to the point where in their careers, they could support doing some of these big things. Now, we're about to tell them that we don't even need them in the workforce anymore. Well, where do they go? How do they react? What does that end up resulting in a societal standpoint? Because that's the thing that ends up really being the most important is what are we going to do? Are we going to give people a universal basic income because there are no jobs? We can't do that. That isn't going to work. That isn't going to make sense. But we're going to hear those things come out a lot, and we're going to see a lot of support for them. Because when you have a family, when you have kids, and now your job is gone, and one party says, "Hey, I can give you money to put bread on the table," you're going to vote for them. And that means all of these things coming together are going to create a landscape in the future that is extremely uncertain, extremely uncertain. And so we will be keeping up a bit more with some AI related information and some AI fun after how much I enjoyed making the music and the images and everything, and how much the community loved them. I know we're going to be doing a good bit more with that. All right, we had already checked this one out. Why, for some, crypto is the defining political issue of our times. It would be foolish for people to vote against their own interests. This is an extremely, I thought this was an extremely wise opinion piece. Of course, an opinion piece, so don't look here for concrete facts. But Daniel Kuhn did lay out some pretty good examples throughout this one, where when it comes down to it, the average Americans that are completely disinterested in the ways that our mainstream parties are going about things have been looking towards outside avenues. They've been looking towards crypto. And so it's a group of people that have kind of been, we've been sorting ourselves. And with cryptocurrency, we've sorted out a whole buttload of libertarians that don't trust the government, that don't trust central banks, that don't trust the Fed. And we've essentially created this massive group of people that are all aligned in the general things that they do not like. We may not all agree on the things we support, but we're generally in agreement on the things we don't like. We don't like government overreach. We don't like government oversight. We don't want our government to control our financial futures. And we've sorted ourselves out into our own group. Now, where is that group going to find a home at? Right now, we really need parties to go ahead and make a stand on it, because we're a giant group where we have an extreme amount of money and influence in terms of technology when you look throughout the entire crypto economy. And we've yet to find a home. And that is why I do think that we are going to see this be extremely important. This election year is probably going to be the determination of where the crypto demographic goes for the foreseeable future. And that is why it is going to be so important that Trump is on top of it. We cannot in any way, form, or fashion allow for the Democratic senators and everything else to continue to push the laws that they're pushing through in terms of cryptocurrency and it not be made into a public issue. We need to point out that there are people that are trying to take away our rights in the future with laws in the present. All right. This one, of course, Bloomberg, and apparently I got signed out, so I'm not allowed to read the whole thing anymore. But crypto investment firm Block Tower Capital suffers losses in hacks. Of course, feel extremely, extremely bad for Block Tower Capital. But the reason I actually had this article up is to point out what has always been the case. When you hear about hacks or people being robbed in the crypto industry, it is not the blockchain that was hacked. It is always these third parties that we're trusting. It's the exchange. It's the capital fund. They get hacked, and then all of the people, their customers, suffer on account of it. And so just another story from a litany of hundreds, possibly thousands that have occurred over the years of where keeping your money, keeping your crypto on a centralized exchange with a third party has bitten people in the butt. And so remember, not your keys, not your crypto. I imagine with how long I've been in the industry, with really being professional since 2016 in the industry, the amount of times I've heard not your keys, not your crypto, you'd think that I wouldn't even be able to say the words. But I imagine everyone here is also kind of getting a little bit bored of that saying. It's just so important. The future of finance is one of self-custody. And that is not just going to be crypto or Bitcoin. That is going to be the future of your finances. We need to develop the abilities to control our own financial futures and do your own research. And not your keys, not your crypto are two very, very important sayings in terms of keeping that future in mind. So the state of Wisconsin buys nearly $100 million worth of BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF. Wisconsin has been a fairly crypto-friendly state. And so the state's investment board bought 94,562 shares of BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust in the first quarter of the year. Now we're seeing even state governments are investing their money in crypto. This is only going to be the beginning. It will continue. We will start to see, the teachers' funds for different states, the union funds. We'll start to see governments from all different sizes are going to be taking their money and putting it into crypto. It's something where right now, and I was just talking with a stock investment professional just earlier today. And he had always been telling me that no. He always kept essentially 10% of his investments in crypto, and everything else was all in the stock market. Didn't own any gold, didn't own any silver, none of it. And I was talking to him earlier today, and he was looking at it, and I said he had been looking at all the data, and he was like, "Hey, do you think you'd mind showing me how to go through and actually allocate more towards cryptocurrency? And do you know any company that sells gold and silver?" Now, of course, he not being knowledgeable, he's like, "Well, I want them to hold it." And I had to try to explain to him that while that sometimes is the right answer, I tend to suggest when it comes to precious metals that you hold it yourself. But that shift is occurring where even the folks that have always been the hard and solid, all I buy is stocks and CDs and treasury bonds, they're starting to see the difference. Everyone is going to have to become, as Overcoming Victory says, their own bank. The great thing and the worst thing about self-custody and about the future of our finances is that we're no longer going to have other people to blame. I think that in all honesty, many people would go and hire and utilize some of these different financial advisors, not because they don't think they're capable of figuring it out, but because they don't want to be responsible for if things go wrong. And That in and of itself is it's human nature. It's human nature. We hate being wrong, but we're moving towards a future where we're not really going to have a choice anymore. I do think that we will see a lot of essentially what are going to become tokenized asset ETFs or tokenized asset index funds that will make controlling your financial future very simple. But it's still going to be something where you're going to have to start becoming the person that clicks the button or says yes. Cindy D. Cook, my broker knows nothing about much of this. He calls me to see what is going on. That is too funny, Cindy. That is too funny. And yeah, it is. It's very funny to hear the amount of certified professional advisors when I have to go through and read a script at the beginning of each stream and place it everywhere on my channel to ensure that I'm following the rules. But your professional financial advisors don't have to know diddly squat about the future of finance or the way the economy works, and they're allowed to give you advice without any warning. It's funny, but I hope that he's good to you, Cindy, and I imagine he's probably a consummate professional when it comes to stocks and other investment opportunities. All right, on to our next one because this one's a fun one. El Salvador mines 474 Bitcoin using geothermal volcanic energy. So, El Salvador currently holds 5,750 BTC worth 354 million that they have accumulated over 3 years. Remember, El Salvador is going through a massive shift. It may become the shining beacon of how to fix the really the woes of the third world. And so the El Salvador's new president, which of course right now I'm forgetting his name, but I read essentially everything that comes out about the guy because he's so darn interesting. But yeah, Bukele's. And so El Salvador, a couple of years back, went and actually made Bitcoin and cryptocurrency a legitimate currency. Every business has to accept crypto. You're not allowed to not accept crypto. And at the same time, he instituted a massive cleaning up of the streets. He placed more people in prison in a matter of 2 years from the MS-13 gang and other gangs that had been terrorizing not only El Salvador, but every Central American country, and including in North America, us. And so not only did he stop the gangsters from showing up on our border by putting them in jail, he also got his streets together. And they have had to do a massive change in terms of how they operate. He's being called a benevolent dictator at this point in time, but he has laid out a plan where he is going to try to take El Salvador from a third world nation to a first world nation immediately and skip the entire idea of being a second. And he, in many ways, seems to be succeeding. El Salvador's economy, in comparison, is booming. El Salvador's crime rates have plummeted to nothing. Last thing you want to do is be a criminal in El Salvador right now. And financial investment from foreign countries is skyrocketing as well. And so this is really a case study to be keeping in mind. El Salvador is taking advantage of the resources they have, which for them, they have volcanic geothermal access, and using it to mine Bitcoin. Announcing that the country, however, Bukele doubled down on his Bitcoin bet by announcing that the country would buy 1 Bitcoin every day. Keep in mind, guys, 1 Bitcoin, $66,000. That doesn't seem like a lot for a government. El Salvador is not a large or wealthy nation. Them having acquired and be sitting on $354 million worth of Bitcoin is a lot of money. It is a whole lot of money for El Salvador. And they have been, despite getting all of this chunk since 2021, global organizations such as the World Bank and others have heavily criticized the Central American nation for adopting Bitcoin. It's never slowed him down. He obviously can see the future. Heck, he's got volcanoes mining Bitcoin at this point. There are volcano mined Bitcoins currently out there on the market, which I just think is too funny to think about, but it is awesome. It is really awesome. It is the future. All right. Just had a pop-up come into one of my tabs. But all right, continuing forward. This article actually here is one that I was going to go through just to provide to the community. And so this will be inside of the Discord group. Remember, all the daily links go in the official link section. Or no, not the official, today's link section. And so these will be in there. And for those that are just now starting to play around with ChatGPT and AI and seeing how it can benefit your life and anything of that nature, this is a good one to check out. 44 AI terms everyone should know. So I am going to have this one inside of the links, but I'm not going to go through and read all of it because that would get particularly boring. But I wanted it to be a resource for everyone as they start to hear more and more about AI in the political and in the news discussions. You're going to hear more and more. You should at least kind of know what's going on. That way, you know whether they're trying to blow smoke up someplace or not. But all right, this is actually sent from Trina over at Hero, and it was posted inside of, I believe, a Telegram. Yeah, it was in their Telegram group, and it was discussing the idea of the upcoming election and tokenized assets. And so, if you think cryptocurrency is not part of the presidential race this year, you might want to think again. The population is watching very closely on how Congress deals with our new digital economy. At the end of June, our markets in crypto assets and stablecoins are about to become law. We have some coins that just simply won't cut the mustard after that date. In terms of the end of June and that date, that's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be where we're not going to see coins or tokens suddenly disappear on account of it, at least not in a large way. Well, of course, we see projects disappear on a daily basis, probably on an hourly basis. Quite simply, unless you hold a data that is part of the new, you may find some of your asset being either banned or just simply going away. I'm not worried about this in that short of a time span. I do see, as we move towards into the future, there are certain cryptocurrencies that could encounter issues where they would not be acceptable for the SEC or the United States to ever allow to operate inside of the nation. One example would be Monero. Monero is a digital privacy token where you and I could be sitting in the same room, and I could send you Monero, and no person on the planet could prove that I was the person that sent you Monero. And so those type of technological advancements that crypto has provided, we could see those universally condemned. But I highly doubt that they're going to completely get rid of the speculative nature of the market that fast. What is extremely important in this, and this is the reason that I wanted to talk about it, is because of tokenized assets. Tokenized assets are what XRP, XLM, and many other companies are very, very focused on. They're interested in creating cross-border trade, central bank digital currencies, and they're interested in tokenizing assets. And so, when you hear the term tokenized asset, what that means is someone is taking a real world asset or data or anything. And now asset is becoming a very, very loose term here because it could be anything. We're taking anything and we are making a token of it and putting it on the blockchain and connecting the ownership of that asset with that token. So if it is a tokenized asset, whoever owns the token owns the asset. It doesn't matter where it's at. That gold can be in your house. If I own the token that is the tokenized representation of that gold, that is my gold. You're just holding on to it at the moment. That is essentially a very simple way of thinking about what a tokenized asset is. Tokenized assets could come in the form of tokenized debt. So a bank could go out and they could say, well, we have $100 million worth of debt owed by this person on their house. It's $1 million worth. And we are going to tokenize that $1 million of debt. And we're going to put it on the open market and see what somebody wouldn't be willing to pay to own that debt. We are going to start to see things of that nature occur in a very, very rapid rapid fashion. Matter of fact, the tokenized asset market is expected to exceed $10 trillion by 2030. And that is, I do not have the article for that one up right at the moment because that's something that I have read and studied in the past, but it is $10 trillion is the expectation by 2030. 2030 is not that far away, guys, and right now the market's worth zero. Well, maybe not zero, but pretty close to zero. And so with all expectations pointing towards a $10 trillion market, that would make it larger than the vast majority of industries on the planet. And it would mean that that market is about to occur in a little more than half a decade. A rapid shift in terms of how the world works. And so this one that was a really important thing that they had included here, is that politics are going to be focused on crypto and tokenized assets are going to be the future. Right, wrong, indifferent, they will be. And so we all need to be aware of what that term is, and we need to start getting ready when we hear it, because you're going to hear it all the time. You're going to start seeing tokenization, fractionalization. You're going to start hearing these terms and seeing them all over the place, and they're going to be in mainstream media. And that's kind of the point in time where, you know, when mainstream media starts talking about it, it's because it's old news. That's essentially how it's been working for quite some time. If Fox News is talking about it, if CNN's talking about it, it's because it's old news or it's a lie. In this situation, they're going to start talking about it at a point when it's old news, and then you're going to start hearing about it from a variety of different resources and outlets. So keep these things in mind. Keep an eye on what the politicians are saying when it comes to crypto, and especially what they say when it comes to central bank digital currencies, because we have got some snakes in the grass when it comes to CBDCs. There are far too many Republican senators and representatives that support the stablecoin laws. And that in and of itself is something we have an even greater burden in regards to staying actively aware of that, because that would be people from our side of the political aisle going against our own self-interest. And if we want to be able to keep voting for them, we need to be able to do that with a clean conscience, or at least as clean as a political conscience can get nowadays, which is not particularly clean. But we need to be aware of that. All right, let's see, though. I think I missed. Maria Luisa, what appears to be the future of the U.S. Treasury deploying CBDC? Maria, under the Biden administration back in 2021, a committee was appointed in order to develop and research the idea of a CBDC for the U.S. Federal Reserve. That, in terms of everything that has come out, the United States intends to develop their own CBDC and are not looking towards utilizing Ripple or other companies' technologies, at least wholesale. They are working with them. They are learning from them. But one universal when it comes to these central banks currencies is that typically small countries are going to Ripple, and they're saying, we just want your platform. We just want your CBDC platform. No questions asked. Larger countries, the hegemonic powers of the world, are going to Ripple, and they're saying, we'd like to see what you're making, and we're going to make it ourselves. And so there's a big difference between how the U.S. is addressing this issue and then how, you know, an El Salvador or you know, a Belize or a smaller nation, there's a big difference between how they're looking at it. Large nations are saying, hey, we would like to talk to these companies that have created these different platforms, and we'd like to see how they work. Maybe we'll do it work. Maybe we'll do business with them. Maybe we won't. Smaller governments are going to them and they're saying, can you just give me an over-the-counter solution? Can you give me a platform where I can immediately go out there and I can start to control my nation's economy? And so look no further than good old Ripple.com, where they lay it out in explicit detail on their website. CBDCs, these are being built by Ripple. These would provide, banks can use the CBDC's platform, cryptographic multi-sign controls, to mint CBDCs or stablecoins. They can distribute them They can transact them, redeem them, and then they can destroy them. The CBDC platform supports the secure destruction of currency, giving the bank full control over supply. Keep this in mind, guys. This is a wolf in sheep's clothing. This is a wolf in sheep's clothing. And there are a lot of banks and a lot of governments that are taking this platform. What do you think they're going to do with it? I think they're going to focus a whole heck of a lot of their mental space on we can make as much as we want. We can distribute it however we choose to authorized accounts or not, and we can destroy it. Keep in mind, when they say destroy it, the Ripple platform would allow for the government to destroy the money that is currently inside of your account, not the money they have. They could go ahead and get rid of the money you have. And that is very important to keep in mind. And so we will see this split between the countries that have more resources are probably going to build their own. The countries that don't have as much are probably either going to partner with Ripple or they're just going to buy it straight out. So, all right, though, guys. Any more questions that we can go through real quick? Otherwise, I think we will let everyone enjoy their break before the original Mark Z in an hour's time. And of course, Wednesdays being Whiskey and Wisdom, I always try to keep it a little bit shorter. That way, my voice doesn't completely give out. And I'm really looking forward to our Whiskey and Wisdom tonight. Do you see one platform taking the pole position on minting and holding the tokenized assets in the next few years? Right now, Greg, that would be looking towards either a XRP, or it would be looking at some of the decentralized autonomous organizations. There are platforms that have actually made far better technology than Ripple, to be completely fair. They're decentralized. They're not owned by any one person. Ripple is owned by a company. You know, when it comes down to it, corporation has control of the blockchain. We don't. In the case of, say, MakerDAO, in the case of, say, Consensus, these are other companies that have the resources, have the assets, and they're not an actual company in the same way that we imagine it. Every holder of their tokens is an owner of their platform. They are a decentralized autonomous organization. You have to get my vote in order to do things. And so that means they're slow movers. It's the same way that here's for a little throw from political science and philosophy. Something that we had learned about and was very important is that democracies are extremely slow. And we're extremely slow because we have to agree on crap. And in the case of these decentralized autonomous organizations and cryptocurrencies, they're slow because you have to get everybody to agree. In the same way, when they commit to something, they tend to do much better than unilateral or authoritarian organizations and political groups. One example being war. Democracies are extremely difficult to convince to go to war. We're also extremely difficult to convince to stop going to war. And so that in and of itself is something that is, I think, is a apt metaphor for when we look at which companies and what platforms may end up taking a lead in the near future. Some of these truly decentralized groups, they have the power to become the leading tokenized asset outlets. They have the best brains. They have the most talented developers and coders. They have all the money necessary. Will they actually start doing it soon enough to keep up with the centralized companies? I don't know. I do not know. And so, Greg, right now, if I were a gambling man, I'd say Ripple is probably going to be the major platform or the major provider of tokenized assets at the moment. Right now, it's Ripple. Maybe XLM somewhere on the board, but primarily Ripple. All right. Crazy Chester, is it destroying CBDCs similar to burning coins? It is. It is. It's the same idea. The only difference is they can destroy them from your account. You know, I can burn tokens at any point. If you take your crypto and you send it to a wallet that's inaccessible, that term is known as burning. You have burnt that coin, that token, because it can never be accessed again, ever. It's gone into the void for eternity. And so what they're actually doing is they're destroying it, not putting it somewhere where no one can access it. With what Ripple has built, it's gone. At least with burning, I can go look at it. I can say, I know where it is. I can use the blockchain and I can say, look, there is that token. There is that dollar, et cetera, et cetera. But with what they're actually built, it's just gone. It's, hey, Crazy Chester, you know, I don't know. We think this money it shouldn't be his, and boom, it's gone. Or also keep in mind, Crazy Chester, with that platform that Ripple bought, they could also just say, hey, Crazy Chester owes property taxes this year. Let's not send him the bill. Let's just take the money out. And they could do that. They could just take the money right out. Bam. No questions asked. They didn't have to convince the bank or anybody. Money just gone. Not in your wallet anymore. It's a scary future, depending on which way we end up going. But, all right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I cannot wait for Whiskey and Wisdom. And I am looking forward also to our next stream on Friday, where I do believe we are going to be having a fun Friday again. We'll be going through the news and we'll be making something different with AI. We're going to keep exploring all the different applications of artificial intelligence and let people see it in action, because it's 90% of, I feel like, what I do on a daily basis nowadays is it includes artificial intelligence in some form or fashion. And it also is the way that crypto is evolving at the moment is through artificial intelligence capabilities. So thank you guys, and I'll see everybody at 8 p.m.